on May 29th from 2 to 7 p.m. Terms and conditions apply.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, we have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-710-5220 to speak with a live person now.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
We got some good neighbors and we like bragging on them. Nominate a good neighbor every day. Put it in writing on WGNS. WGNS. AM, FM, online. The Good Neighbor Network. FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro. FM 100.5 Smyrna. And online at WGNSradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Well, good morning. Welcome into a Wednesday morning roundtable, and glad to have you with us here on WGNS for the next hour. Guest today is Ben Weatherford. We'll be talking to Ben in just a moment about his career in banking and around here in Murfreesboro, his family history in banking here in Murfreesboro, and what he has done around the state in his career, and how he's enjoying retirement these days, which is really kind of a fun thing. But wanted to kind of tip things off with a couple of things. Number one, the Blue Raider Blitz series began last night with a packed house over at Happy's Sports Lounge right off the square. Coaches Rick Insel, Nick McDevitt, and Derek Mason all had spoke to the crowd. Today there will be stops in Tullahoma at 11:30 a.m. at the Ascend Federal Credit Union corporate headquarters. Then tonight at 5:30 at Riverbend Country Club. Tomorrow we'll be in Smyrna at 11:30 at the Smyrna Event Center, and then tomorrow night at 5:30 we will be at Tailgate Brewery in West Nashville, and we'll have Corey Curtis, Chris Harris from Channel 4, Steve Lehman from Channel 5, Corey, of course, from Channel 2, and Jill Jelnick from Fox 17. They'll be doing a media panel with Coach Mason and Chris Massaro. Again, you're invited. It's free to come, and just hope you can come to those. Now, Brian, last week folks got tired of hearing us.
Oh, I guarantee it.
But you brought home a championship and a state runner-up in baseball and softball, which is always a fun deal when teams you broadcast have great success.
Yeah, and the 4A baseball team got beat by the eventual state champion.
Yep.
So, that was a really good week. Lots of individual awards going out to track and field and things of that nature. A lot of athletes were crowned state champions last week, and we completed on Friday 145 prep events. 145?
Wow.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how many Blue Raider events there were?
No.
Probably about that many.
Probably pretty close, and there was that, and that all ended on Friday as well, on Friday morning with when the baseball team got knocked out of the Conference USA tournament. But between 14 hours of Spring Fling HQ, keeping folks up to date. We got a lot of positive comments out at Sportscom with that, and your coverage. Folks could keep up with what was going on last week, and I just think that event is incredible. How it comes off, because all the little pieces when they come together for one big event is just there's no other state in the country that does it that way, and really once other states have come here and seen this, they don't want to attempt it because it is such a major undertaking.
I could only imagine what it takes. You have all the different people. We have to understand every venue has a different person in charge, and you have to get to know that person. And we've gotten to know Chuck McAlpin that heads up the softball really well. So he's always got tables and things set up for us and whatever we need. But, that's different at every venue. And I thought it was cool this year, the addition in softball, being able to go over to Jeff Breeden's place over on campus and play the championship game there. I think that added a lot of positive to that, I think. A
big-time feel to it, playing at the college field. And there were 5,000 high school athletes in town with their families and friends. It's just a major event. And, it's funny, you talk about all the different venues and all of that. Well, MTSU, we were talking about this on Wednesday or Thursday when the weather started coming in. There are 3 different lightning policies we had to know about, because you have MTSU has its own weather policies that if things track baseball and softball were on campus, you had those. You have the city Parks and Rec has their weather policies. You had tennis, soccer, and softball going on at those places, and then any other events you had that might fall under just the normal TSSAA weather policy. So depending on where the venue was, that determined which weather policy you dealt with.
Well, we were at the city park for a lot of the softball,
That's right.
and they actually have a lightning detection system there. And so it automatically tells them that lightning is this close, and they shut everything down. And so we went through that. We did 3 games on Thursday, but we were there from 9 a.m. until probably 6 or 6:30, something like that, with 3 games just trying to get them in, and 2 long delays, actually.
Yeah, the baseball finals on Thursday, the Division II private school games did not end until 12:47 a.m. Friday morning. And then, fortunately, I was not working those. But on Friday, I had all 4 Division I baseball championship games on television. And I'm happy to report all 4 started on time and all 4 ended on time.
Yeah.
I was home by 9 o'clock Friday night. So
would
that
not
was
have
good.
given us a chance on Friday for that to happen, for sure. So the Chamber of Commerce must have put in a good report for weather just to get all this in or something.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks a lot, Brian. And I know you guys did a great job and provided a great service last week. Now, Ben Weatherford is here. And, Ben, we were talking. Well, first of all, thanks for coming up today. I've been wanting to have you on for a while. And fortunately, you answered your phone on Memorial Day.
Well, thank you for the invitation. Thanks for the invitation. I appreciate it, Brian.
To kind of dovetail off you're a big sports fan, and I know for you who you've been a community leader and in a family of community leaders for a long time, to see what Murfreesboro and Rutherford County has become on a state level for those type of events. I mean, it has to be something that when you were a kid you probably never dreamed would happen, and now you look at it.
Yeah, Chip. Yeah, you're right. When I was a kid, population in Murfreesboro was 15, 16, 17,000, and I remember it was a big deal if anyone that graduated from high school here went to a Division I school.
Oh yeah,
that was a big deal. So, we didn't have those kinds of events, and I have had in the past lunch with James Herring, who was the husband of Mona Herring,
right?
And of course, Mona invested a lot of time with the chamber, putting the spring fling together.
In a nice metaphor, she handed the baton off to Barbara Walke, who now corrals all the volunteers, and a huge thank you to all those people, because it would never happen without them. Yeah,
I mean, that's literally hundreds and hundreds of hours of prep each year, in putting that event together. And, of course, the economic impact on this community, in this county, is tremendous.
Yeah, and the county mayor was here last week, or in last hour, I should say, and I'm sure when he checks the budget numbers, he's happy to see some of those sales tax and hotel tax revenues coming in his way. How long have you been retired? Now, Ben was was the local president of First Bank here in town, and time starts flying when we get a little bit older. How long have you been retired now?
It has been, what is today, 29th?
Yeah. On
the 31st, 2 days from now will be 3 years.
Wow, okay.
So May 31st of 2021 is when I retired, and it has been a fast 3 years. As people ask me all the time, how do you like retirement? I am enjoying it. I missed a lot of my clients that I dealt with, and certainly people that I worked with I miss very much. But at the same time, I got a lot going on in my family. I've got grandkids. Both of my parents are still living, and though my sisters do most of the work with them, I invest time with them, and surprisingly, I think my wife likes having me around a little more than I used to. Yeah. So but life is good. Life is good. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, and have you So I know, obviously, there's a lot of family stuff with your parents.
Yeah.
When they become a certain age, we all have that responsibility and go through that. And
Mid to late 90s.
Obviously, I want to talk. In particular, when we talk about your banking career, we can't talk about your banking career without talking about your dad's banking career as well. But as far as other retirement activities, do you guys travel? What have you found in retirement that you had no idea that you were going to enjoy?
I don't know that I enjoy this, but there are many more projects than I had realized that I needed to get caught up on. So, I can't get that done in 2 or 3 months. It takes me years. But anyway, Margie and I have a property also in Cannon County. My wife Margie and my kids love the outdoors, and it is a very remote place, but it requires a lot of upkeep, and so I'm doing a lot more manual labor than I was prior to. You know? So but it kind of keeps you active and in shape, and so it's good. Now, compared to most people, I'm not sure I'm doing anything that's terribly exciting, but I'm very comfortable in my life and satisfied. So, and I get, I'm investing it with my family, and I don't, how can you spend a better time, better way to invest your time than with grandkids and
well,
kids.
I can say for someone who's inching closer to that every day, that sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. But your place up in Cannon County, you being in remote and all of that, it's beautiful up there, and I don't know exactly where it is, but I know a lot of those hollows and stuff up there which they come to. But in the weather we've had, that keeps you busy with trying to keep driveways clear and all that stuff up there.
I wish sometimes one thing about I really enjoy spring and parts of summer, but one thing I don't look forward to is things don't quit growing. You gotta
That's right.
You got to keep them maintained. But anyway, we again, my wife and kids love the outdoors, and so it's Cannon County is beautiful area.
Yeah, sure is. When it came time to retire, how did you know it was time?
Boy, that's
and did you see it? Did you feel it coming on, or did you wake up one morning and say, it's, and I hear people say, well, my friend Harold Smith, when he worked at MTSU as director of student programming, he had a rule. He goes, if I ever have 3 bad days in a row, then I'll know it's time. And then you hear people generically say, well, I'll work as long as I enjoy it and things like that. But was there
good question, and it's not the easiest to answer, but it was a wide variety of factors affecting me that led me to it. I retired. I was almost 64. 2 more months, I would be 64. So I was 63. And so I retired a little bit earlier than I had originally anticipated, but I could tell it was time. What specific factors were there, it's hard to pinpoint. But I remember being at a fundraising event and talking to a guy that I knew growing up, Jeff James. I don't know if you know who Jeff is,
okay.
In the concrete business, but he had retired, and he was a year older than I was. And I said, Jeff, how did you know? He said, Ben, you'll just know. He said, you'll just know when it's time. And so just a lot of factors. Again, we were coming off of the pandemic. A lot of stuff going on with the pandemic was still in play. I can't explain it, but somehow when I hit about the time period I hit 60, I started thinking differently, and I'm sure if I sat down with a psychologist, they could figure it out. But
does that ring in my head right there? I'm telling you, because I'm 61 now, and I promise you, things have changed in my head too.
I didn't see it coming on.
Yeah,
I really did not see it coming on. But you just go with the flow. Obviously a lot of I pray every day, and a lot of prayer was involved, and a lot of thought, and I didn't talk to a lot of people about it. Maybe one or two people, because Rutherford County's grown, but it's still a small community, and I didn't candidly want people knowing that I was thinking about that.
Right.
And so maybe from a certain standpoint, from a competitive standpoint.
Yeah.
And but just a lot of factors came into play.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you said you did it it'll be in 2021, so May 31st of 2021. And and we were still in the throes of the pandemic at that point. But did you feel, obviously you had that idea in your head that it was coming, but also did you feel kind of a responsibility to help get First Bank through the worst of that and be there, have an experienced hand at the tiller, so to speak?
Yeah. Again, that's very observant. Yes. Yeah, I thought it was important to work through some of those issues. Also, about that time, a little bit before that, First Bank and Franklin Synergy had merged.
Correct.
And so the Franklin Synergy and First Bank operation in Rutherford County combined, and I was responsible for that. At that time, Franklin Synergy in this community was larger than First Bank, pretty noticeably larger.
Yeah.
So we had a combined bank that we were second largest bank in the community when you look at deposits. So I also wanted to work through some of that merging process there. I mean, a lot going on when there's a merger, just a lot going on.
I can only imagine that, just trying to balance my own checkbook, much less, everything that goes on with one of those.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
And you could probably write a book about that part of it.
Yeah, but I don't want to. Yeah, many of us as bankers could. I've been through several mergers in my career, and I think we're going to see more of that going on. But it's it is a lot of times a good process or a good result. Sometimes not. But it's not easy, and it's not a fun process to go through, but it's just part of the industry.
Yep. Well, Brandon Burks, who worked upstairs in the mortgage side of First Bank, has been on with us before, and First Bank's really interesting, I think, because it is a big bank.
Yep.
But it is Tennessee based, still basically family owned, right?
Not completely,
okay.
But not as much. But, of course, Mr. Ayers was Mr. Jim Ayers.
And he's out of Savannah, right?
He's out of Lexington.
Well,
okay. Actually, he's out of Parsons.
Okay.
He's out of Parsons, Tennessee. And First Bank, when I joined the bank, was headquartered in Lexington, which geographically is close to Parsons. And headquarters has been changed to Nashville.
Okay.
But again, I don't know all the details on Mr. Ayers' financial situation, but he has owned a significant portion of First Bank in the past. He may have shed some of that ownership, and others have come in and stepped up. But it always had a family feel to me when I was at First Bank,
well,
and it's it's gotten to be above $10 billion in assets, and so I think well above $10 billion now. So it's not a small player.
No, it's not, and obviously the Brandon and his crew have done, made such a mark in this hot real estate market in the mortgage business.
He's a star.
He is. He really is.
He works hard.
He
really hard.
He does, and it shows for sure.
Yeah.
We need to take our first break of the hour, and Ben Weatherford is our guest. We got a lot more to talk about with Ben when we return here on this Wednesday version of the Roundtable. Hi, this is Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. You might know me as the voice of the Blue Raiders, but I want to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Whether you're buying or selling, it's time to choose Chip. Do you have a growing family and need to upsize? Are you an empty nester now and need to downsize? Are you thinking of selling your current home but just worried you can't find something else? Well, it's time to choose Chip. I'm looking to be your trusted advisor in real estate. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
Hey guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Be sure to schedule your health assessment at Low T Center. For established patients, they offer the convenience of physician-monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments with an average payment of $150 a month cash pay, including labs and medication. If you need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy, shipping treatments directly to you. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Del's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2023. Save 60%. Code 2023. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
This is Lisa Halliburton with Bell Jewelers.
Tell us about the Pandora collection at Bell Jewelers.
Pandora is still very popular for us. We have a Pandora boutique. As you enter the store, you'll see a nice selection. We have some we call Last Chance that are now 30% off, so you can get some really nice savings. This is Lisa Halliburton at Bell Jewelers, 821 Northwest Broad Street, across from Toots Restaurant.
What do you like most about Adams Place?
My apartment. I love my apartment. It's roomy, and I've got lots of books, and I've got room for everything, and my little dog likes it, so we're happy in my apartment.
We're talking with Betty Kirksey.
The people are nice. Everybody that works here I have found they're really nice.
I'm Terry Deal. Call me for more information about Adams Place, located at 1927 Memorial Boulevard, across from Walmart.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
Get ready for an incredible opportunity. Friday, June 14th, the city of Murfreesboro is teaming up with the American Job Center to host a career fair like no other. Head to the Murfreesboro Civic Plaza near Vine and South Church Street, where employers will be ready to meet you and discuss exciting job opportunities.
Learn what's happening in our community. Check out the events page on our website. Put this on your calendar. Next week is the International Folk Fest. That's a major event in our community. And this year, dance troupes and bands from Mexico, the United Kingdom, the Czech Republic, and of course our own Cripple Creek Cloggers. The International Folk Fest all next week throughout the community. Go to their website for more information. The International Folk Fest. The library's Technology Engagement Center presents 2 free computer classes every week. One's at 3:30 Monday afternoon, and the other is on Tuesday afternoons at 2:30. Get with the Tech Center over on Minerva Drive for more information. It's a part of our Rutherford County Public Library system. Don't miss Food Truck Friday from 11 until 1 on Fridays on the Murfreesboro Civic Plaza. The Parkinson's Support Group meets on the first and third Friday of each month, 10 o'clock in the morning, at the St. Clair Street Senior Center. And those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Weatherford weather.
Mostly sunny skies here this afternoon with a high in the low 80s. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low near 54. By Thursday, sunshine, high of 81 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS.
Currently, it's 72. WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. United Communications is MTE's internet company, serving homes and businesses throughout the mid-state with super fast and reliable fiber internet service. Find out more at mte.com/internet.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back into the Wednesday Roundtable. Chip Walters with you today. Coming up next week, Don Witherspoon will be here, as well as our friends, as we bring recognition to Alzheimer's Awareness Month, which is the month of June, and that will be our show next week, so I hope you'll be here for that. Our guest today is Ben Weatherford, and when we talk Weatherfords in banking, we cannot have the conversation without talking about your dad, and I would be remiss to say, how's your dad doing, and how's your mom doing?
You know, they're in their mid to late 90s, so relative to their stages in life, they're doing well. You know,
your dad is not far from
the big
100 years old.
Yeah, he's over 99 and a half.
Wow.
So he's got a good mind still. Gets around. You know, I mean, he's not as fast as he used to be.
Neither are we.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's right. But thank you for asking. They're doing well.
Yeah, and you know, his career obviously. How far back? When did he start in the banking world?
He started. Oh man, I'll give you general. He was in World War II. He was in the Navy during World War II on a destroyer escort for 3 years, and then he came out. So probably around 48 or 49, somewhere in that time frame, 48 or 49. They married in 47, so it's probably 48 or 49.
And he grew up where?
In your
Columbia.
hometown.
That's right. He
Columbia,
did.
Your hometown, Columbia. Yep. And so he was with Murfreesboro Bank and Trust for 40 years.
Wow.
You know, after World War II and after graduating from UT. And so here in Murfreesboro, I mean, it was kind of, you don't hear it these days, but he was same bank, same community, his entire career. And looking back at it, you know, obviously even thinking about it last night, kind of thinking about what we're going to be talking about today, but he's been retired 34 years. So that's almost a career in and of itself. But he's always stayed active, you know, relative to his point in life.
Always, just super sharp to talk to and fun and you know the changes obviously that he saw and what you've seen is just unbelievable in the banking business. But you know, in a lot of folks who are listening have great memories of Murfreesboro Bank and Trust, and then Mid-South Bank and Trust after that, which became SunTrust.
Third National.
That's right.
Third National, then SunTrust, yeah.
And now Truist. So
yeah.
So it is, in the whole time, you know, banks were, you know, in our growing up days, you know, you kind of, one reason you went to the bank was you'd kind of run into people. It's like going to the post. It was like going to the post office.
Yeah, or the barbershop. Yeah.
And now, you know, all of the post office and the bank, you know, there's still a line at the post office, but you know, the banking business has changed so much because, you know, I'm looking at my phone right here, and I do 95% of my banking on my phone now, and
same here.
Yeah,
you know, I'm same here. Bank branches, to an extent, are still necessary.
Right.
Still important, and I don't see those going away. But, you know, you're right. I'm like you, Chip. When I'm doing my banking, it's mostly on a laptop or a phone, and it's usually when banks are closed.
That's right.
You know, either at night or on the weekend, and so technology has provided a lot of conveniences. You know, it's like all of technology. I mean, there's some challenges with it as well, where banking's sometimes not as personalized as it used to be as a result, but it can be awfully convenient. So, a lot of changes.
Yeah, see, I want a little bit of both. I like the convenience, but I also like to know that if I walk in my bank, that I know who I'm going to talk to.
I don't see that going away.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, your career, obviously your dad's career in banking had a huge influence on the direction you were going to go.
Yes.
And so kind of where did that start for you, and once you got out of school and started knocking on doors?
Yeah, and so pretty obviously, and I'll be upfront about it, you know, my dad, as a result of his experience in the banking business, the time he invested with the Tennessee Bankers Association, Tennessee we call it TBA, Tennessee Bankers Association. He had a lot of contacts throughout the state. And so he opened doors for me. Now, I mean, I think with any of us, once the door's open, it's key. What are you going to do with it? When you take the next steps, what's going to happen from there? But he opened some doors for me. I went and interviewed with several banks. Actually, got a couple of offers from banks in Knoxville. So I started my career in Knoxville with Park National Bank, and that was a bank that competed against United American, which was Jake Butcher's bank.
Jake Butcher's bank, that's right.
Yeah, it was interesting. I remember in my career, I was a poor recent college graduate that couldn't afford parking in downtown Knoxville, so I'd park about a mile away and walk into the work every day, and I see this helicopter flying over the skyline of Knoxville, and it's Jake Butcher landing on the top of the United American Bank building. So that's that was and when that went down, I was still working in Knoxville. I think that was at Valentine's Day, in about 82, somewhere in that time frame. But
what a huge story that was.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I started my career at Park National Bank, and it was a local bank. United American was local. Valley Fidelity, I got an offer from them. They were Knoxville-based bank. Today, Park National would be Regions.
Okay.
It would be Regions. And it obviously still exists. And I worked in that downtown office on Gay Street in Knoxville. So I was there about 5 years, and then I joined the former, as you mentioned, Mid-South Bank and Trust.
Right.
And went to Winchester.
Okay.
About 7 or 8 months prior to that, Mid-South Bank had purchased a bank from the FDIC in Winchester, and so I went there to, in essence, be the local manager of that office, and I wasn't ready. It was too soon, but you know how it is when you learn a lot in those situations. So I was in Winchester for about 3.5 years, and then I'm going to say Franklin County. We actually lived in Estill Springs.
Yeah. And
then came to Murfreesboro for about 1.5 years, and then went, again, all this was with what it was then at Third National Sun Trust. Went to Lawrence County, your neighboring county.
That's right, my mother's home county. So
is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She grew up there.
So, yeah, I was with a Third National-owned bank in Lawrence County for 9 years, and then Chattanooga for 1.5 to 2 years with SunTrust, and then came back to Murfreesboro.
I've always in your time in Lawrence County, they because of obviously where you are geographically in the state depends on different metropolitan areas or other big cities have an influence over you. Growing up in, whether you were here in Murfreesboro or Columbia, like I did, Nashville was the next best thing. Lawrence County's a little different because they're just far south enough where they have as much, I'm not saying loyalty, but like the Huntsville, Muscle Shoals, Florence and Huntsville has a lot of influence over Lawrence County, and that's kind of interesting because they take a lot of pride of being down there on the Alabama state line. The Lawrenceburg, Pulaski's, Fayetteville's, all right there along the state line and that's an interesting area.
Yeah, we got to know Florence, Alabama as a result of living there.
Yeah,
and which we thought was a pretty neat community. My wife and kids, I would be working, and Margie had delayed her career at that point, raising kids, and would take them to UNA, University of North Alabama, and stuff going on in that area. And so it was, Margie wouldn't want me to say this, but when we were first driving to Lawrence County to interview, when I was interviewing, and we were driving through, and we kind of toured, and then we're leaving. She goes, "I'm not living here." But she ended up loving it. We ended up loving that community. Great group of people.
Yep, and you have the Amish that are in Etheridge, and all of that really adds a lot of uniqueness, and then a very proud community down there as well. And so after Lawrence County, did you come back to Murfreesboro?
No, from there I went to Chattanooga with SunTrust.
Okay.
For about a year and a half, 2 years, I was went there to be head of their private banking area, and we actually lived on Signal Mountain. Chattanooga's a neat city, and it's we left there in 2000, but we really enjoyed living on Signal Mountain.
Oh, I bet.
It going up and down that mountain wears your brakes and tires out, but it was a neat community up there, and kids were going to a public school, but it was like a private school. Their school systems were great, so we really enjoyed it.
Well, I've got some friends who have that same feeling. They have a little house up on Lookout Mountain, and very kind of. I've been up there a couple of times, and the first thing that always comes to my head is, what do y'all do when it snows? It's
stay put.
You stay put for a while, but
it was interesting when I was there. There's a lot I didn't know about Chattanooga.
Chattanooga's a great town too. You talk about a town with its own identity.
Yeah, and there was a lot of wealth in Hamilton County. Tied into coke and insurance companies, but I was on Signal Mountain, and I always heard. The owners of these companies are on Lookout. The guys that manage it, guys and gals that manage it, are on Signal.
Okay,
it was
still not bad folks to be around.
Yeah.
What's interesting now is you've seen the growth there, and what that and that town has really done a great job of cleaning itself up and becoming, reimagining itself. But here in Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, we are on the verge of passing Hamilton County in total population, and that is supposed to happen here in the next 2 to 3 years. That we'll pass them in total pop. So that's crazy.
It is, and it's speaking of my dad, I remember when we were growing up, and we would go on trips, and we would drive through these little communities, going to Florida, and either in Georgia or Florida, and he said you can drive through a community and see how good the bankers are there, and the leadership of the community is there. You can get a sense, and when you look at the growth that we've had in this community, it doesn't come by mistake.
Yeah.
A really good leadership in this community that we've had. So we've been blessed in a lot of ways. Are there challenges to growth? We all know the answer to that's yes.
Yeah.
And
but you don't want to go backwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's there is there's a lot of folks that want to, you'll see the post on social media. It says we're full, whatever. It's like, okay, when do you want us to put the gate up?
Yeah.
Before you get here or after you got here? It's okay for you to come, but now you don't want anybody else. So. And that is the challenge, like you said, and Mayor Carr was here last hour, and that's the challenge that he has, is helping manage growth. Shane McFarland has the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
His council and Joe's commission, that's their challenge of what they go through is to keep it moving, keep it growing, but find a way to manage it.
Yeah, you just look at the infrastructure requirements at a minimum, and the years it takes to improve infrastructure and the cost.
Don't get Joe going about that.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but
exactly.
Again, none of us are perfect, but we've obviously in this community, our leaders have obviously done some things right for us to be as large as we are.
Yep, absolutely,
and economically as progressive as we are compared to other places.
Absolutely. All right, Ben Weatherford is our guest today. We're going to take our final break. Final segment coming up here on the Roundtable on WGNS.
This is a breaking news alert from News Radio WGNS.
Well, we have some traffic information for you. 2 crashes have caused the closure of I-840 at Jefferson Pike toward Lebanon. and the new Nashville Highway out between Murfreesboro and Smyrna. That's 231 in that area. So seek an alternate route. A couple of crashes on 840, Old Nashville Highway, or I-24 are good alternates for that second crash as well. So a couple of crashes have the Interstate 840 at the Jefferson Pike interchange, and also Highway 41 as well in kind of rough, or 231 in rough shape there. Back with more on that. We'll have more updates on the website, WGNSradio.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Rayburn Insurance in Smyrna.
Come see me, Rick Hall, at Rayburn Insurance in downtown Smyrna today.
Online at rayburn.net.
This is Kim Dunaway from Sunshine Nutrition Center. You hear me on Monday mornings at 7:20 talking about how to lead a healthier lifestyle. We carry supplements, personal care, and grocery items at both our Murfreesboro and Smyrna locations, family owned and operated since 1989.
Spring has sprung, and that means it's time to start planning for your summer road trips. With Bud's Tire Pros by your side, your vehicle will be ready to see the mountains, the beaches, and everything in between. With Bud's Tire Pros' full line of Michelin tires and products, you'll have the peace of mind to hit the road no matter what you drive. Bud's Tire Pros is only 3.5 miles from the Murfreesboro Square. Call Bud's Tire Pros at 896-TIRE or online, Bud's Tire Pros, TN.com.
When the unexpected happens, fire, water, or storm damage, Farrah Construction can help. Farrah Construction is also there to help when a car slams through the wall, and that seems to happen more often these days. I'm Ron Hall. Let our family at Farrah Construction help you. Call Farrah Construction and we'll board up, put down tarps, secure your home or business until the insurance coverage is approved. I'm Ron Hall. Shop local. Let our family business help you. Farrah Construction Company.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back into the Roundtable, final segment with Ben Weatherford today, and we're talking all kinds of stuff, banking and his career and, growth in the community and how he's enjoying retirement. So before we took the break, you were talking about the advice your dad gave, and your dad, Jack, and that when you drove through a community, you could kind of tell a little bit about it by the banking leadership. And how lucky were we in Murfreesboro to have the banking leadership and the friendly competitiveness between a lot of guys who, were pillars of our community.
Yeah, great question. And I, admittedly, I'm not going to be totally unbiased.
That's right.
In my response, but because of who my father was and also the industry I've been in. But yeah, some great leaders. I mean, I sat there and observed. I didn't know what I was learning at the time, but I observed my dad and how he operated and his commitment to what he was doing, and to helping people in the community. But also folks he worked with. I mean, he worked with other great leaders. Jack Holden, who's passed away years ago, Mr. Holden, very intelligent, smart, hardworking man. Don Moser. Bless Don Moser's heart, he had to manage me for a while when I went to Winchester, and he was a great mentor for me and very patient with me. Don,
and Don's still getting around.
Yeah,
doing good.
Don is, and though I didn't really know him, Mr. Lassiter, Sam Lassiter with Commerce Union, you've got to what Ed Lowry and Ronnie Knight have accomplished through Calvary. It started as Murfreesboro Savings and Loan. They started there. And what Pinnacle is in this community today, it's I'm glad I'm not competing. Well, and, a little more, Ed and Ronnie were younger than those other guys I mentioned.
They were, they were kind of that next wave.
Yes. And, but, I mean, just some great talent that's been here. And then I think about, next generation, you think about, as you and I were talking, Charlie Myatt, Lee Moss moving in here from Nashville. We didn't think a Nashville guy could operate well in Murfreesboro. He did it in a very adroit fashion, talented guy, and just a lot of good leadership here that has made a difference in this community.
Yeah, and you talked about your time in Chattanooga. Charlie had his time in Chattanooga and all that, so there was a little something there, But the thing is, not only were all of those guys that you mentioned very good at what they did in their banking industry, they took that leadership role out into the community, and whether it was being part of the chamber, being part of other, other types of philanthropic ideals, they were all very active in that, and you fall right into that role as well.
Yeah, and that's that is an important part of banking and being a banker. Certainly, the way I view it, Chip, it's kind of from two different angles. First of all, you want to help the community, and you want your bank to be involved in helping the community, and you individually want to do your part with whatever strengths you can bring to the table helping the community. Also, it is a way, bankers are, one of my brother-in-law said bankers are half politicians, and it kind of hurt my feeling, but it's the truth. And so when being part of nonprofits, you're exposed to a different group of people, that you might not see in the bank every day, and it candidly helps you from a PR standpoint, but putting forth that effort, ultimately, it is benefiting people in the community. Yes, I mean, you got to manage your time there. You can get overcommitted in a hurry, but I think about Charlie Myatt and Lee Moss. I had to compete against those guys. I got to work with Lee for a while, but I also had to compete against those guys. But I would, as part of, and Bill Jones, Bill's done phenomenal.
Yes, he has.
In so many ways. And but when you're competing against them, you're really paying attention to what they're doing and what they're involved in. And you can see the results of their efforts.
No, absolutely. And, and there's there's such a high level of respect between, those, it's not that way everywhere. You never, I've been working in this town for, 30, 40 years now. And you never hear about those in that circle of folks that we're talking about bad-mouthing each other. It was all, they're always, you see them talking a lot and probably not sharing secrets, but, helping each other out a little bit. And you see them sitting around boardroom tables, whether it's with the Salvation Army or the Red Cross or whatever, all kind of pulling the rope the same way, because I think there is the higher tide lifts all ships, and everybody had that same mentality.
Yeah, that's a great analogy, and yes, I mean, which is an indication of their professionalism. Now, Chip, hey, we all have competitive juices flowing.
That's right.
So we put on our football helmets.
That's right.
Figuratively speaking, I mean, we went at it. we competed against each other. But you're right. Those names mentioned knew when to take the helmets off.
Yeah.
And really lock arms and do what's best for the community.
Speaking of putting your football helmet on, when Mr. Ayers decided to move into this market with First Bank, you had to get competitive real quick and to get it going. What were the challenges?
Well, see, I was not.
Oh, that's right. You didn't start.
That was Bank of Murfreesboro, and I was actually. We were just getting the second Mid-South Bank started, so the timing. We love the timing. Mm-hmm. We love the fact that a local bank, Bank of Murfreesboro, was selling to a bank outside of the community. Now, Mr. Ayers knows what he's doing, with First Bank, and so I was not part of that transition. I came in probably I started with First Bank in 2013, and that was probably 2004 when that occurred. But but I've been involved in mergers, and it's coming into a new community. I mean, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure with that. Well, as we get kind of down to the short rows in this interview today and conversation, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but the next generation of folks, and I don't have them all. I know, but between boomers and millennials but when we get to the Z's and X's and Y's, and I'm not sure who falls exactly where, but you and I still have that desire to be able to walk into the brick and mortar. I keep running into in my business now in real estate. It never crossed my mind that I was going to run across somebody who didn't have a checkbook to write an earnest money check.
Yeah.
And there are plenty right now that don't. And so we've had to come to alternate ways of doing things, but it is changing. Where do you see it going?
Well, again, I have not been involved for the past 3 years. I've not been
closely.
Oh man, yeah, and closely engaged. So mine is just kind of tapping into my experience and just candidly what I read in the Wall Street Journal.
Right.
But technology. What's going to be interesting is seeing how AI plays into the banking industry.
Well, that's everything, every industry,
in life, and so I certainly think it's going to provide even more conveniences. I'm sure many of which I can't even envision right now.
Right.
And also I think this is true with technology. It could also create some challenges because it separates human beings from each other. And there are times in financial services somebody needs some help immediately, and they need to eyeball somebody immediately. And the farther away we get from that, I think that's going to.
It does. That part concerns me.
I think, and so I think that's a legitimate concern. Now, do I think that's going to be so pervasive that still technology is just going to? I would think is going to be very beneficial in the financial services business. I love technology. I didn't. If you asked me 20 years ago would I love it, probably wouldn't. I didn't realize how much I was going to love it. So I love it.
And now that you're, do you feel like you're taking more advantage of it now that you're retired, or
absolutely,
or what's your favorite? What's your favorite technological thing that you do these days?
Well, I mean, it's still rudimentary, compared to the Gen Zs. But, I just, I get on. You can transfer money. You used to have to, I got to see when the bank opens, and I got to go fill out this form. But it's, I got a notification at 1:45 in the morning this morning about an account, a certain account. So I made a transfer at 1:45 this morning. Well,
you can do that.
I love that.
Yeah, that is pretty. Well, and this would be a whole different rabbit hole. But before Brian walks in and closes us up, speaking of technology and all, and the cryptocurrency stuff, do you see that going anywhere, or because it's still kind of black box to a lot of traditional thinkers?
Yeah, and I got to be careful talking about something I don't know a lot about, but this is just kind of from a 30,000 viewpoint. I don't totally understand the crypto market. I'm not engaged in it at this point. I've thought about it, but I don't sense it's going away. I don't think it's going to go away. I think people, and this could, where I'm headed, maybe a different conversation for somebody else, but I think people want alternatives to alternative currencies. I think people want alternative currencies. Yeah. And not to be controlled by certain regulatory bodies, candidly. Yeah. And I think that's going to help crypto. Yeah. And again, that's a different conversation for a different time. But
I'm curious if if the crypto world needs to get itself together a little more to where, and I think obviously with people like us, there's a level of trust with it, and what's it going to do, and the dollar is still the dollar. Right. And we see, okay, you hear about, well, Bitcoin did this, or, jumped or fell off or whatever. And there's a bit of uneasiness with me of knowing that if I have whatever amount of that alternative currency, that the value of that could change,
can evaporate,
and go away overnight. Yeah. So I think stability is the key to that.
Yeah, and I don't have the answer to give people confidence how to do that. Therefore, I'll tell you, I'm not invested right now. Doesn't mean that. I sense that I sense crypto is going to be around. It's here. Yeah. It's here now. I haven't heard updates, but if Warren Buffett is not engaged, I'm going to pay attention to that.
That's right.
He's not engaged in crypto from what at least in the past he was, and I don't know if he is now.
Do you use him as a barometer? I certainly want to know what he thinks.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I don't try to pick stocks like he does. So he's obviously got a great mind and does a lot of research, and I'm not really willing to try to compete with that.
All right, it's summertime. What do you have you become the grill master around your house, and what do you got going this summer?
A lot of the same stuff, Chip. It's not nothing exciting, but again, dealing with family, dealing with a little bit of real estate, reading more than I used to read because I have more time. And what I love is Sunday nights thinking, you know what? I don't have to get up and go to work in the morning.
Isn't that nice? Wow.
It is.
And the thing is, I can't figure out yet, that I'm ready to do that. So again, I haven't hit that. Yeah. That thought process hasn't hit me yet. Yeah. I really appreciate you coming by today. It's a fun hour. And and folks, if you missed any of this, you can always go back and catch it on the podcast section of WGNSradio.com. Ben, have a great summer, and Chip, we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Chip. I appreciate it.
All right, tell your dad hello for us all.
All right, and by the way, let me say this real quickly. I really appreciate what you do for this community, you through MTSU athletics, through real estate business. I'm serious. And I look at Brian here. The two of you guys, I've listened to you guys a lot more than you realize. Oh, well, really have. So thanks for what you guys do.
Appreciate it. All right. Ben Weatherford's been our guest today. Brian Barrett coming up next right here. Keep it on the Big G, WGNS.
WGNS, Murphy.